Hello everyone and welcome to Call Sign Charlie Models. It is time for another inbox review. It has been a while since we've done one, and this is because I just got Christmas done. And this one right here was a Christmas present from my niece and nephew. So really looking forward to diving into this one. I have never seen a Copper State Models kit. I've heard great things about them. So we're going to get into this here in just a second. Starting off with, this is the Copper State Models Caudron G.III late US and French service, kit number 32011. Like I said before, I've heard really great things about Copper State Models, especially with their World War I products. They're on the verge of wingnut wings quality, so I'm really looking forward to this one. So we have some great box art on the front with the US flag version right there, and then on to the sides we have three different options to go off. We have the Caudron G.III Trompe Le Mort, C18 Escadrille Maxime Le Noir Verdun 1915. Then we have the one of Jules Verdrines on the roof of the galleries of Lafayette, Paris, January 19th of 1919. And then we have the other one from the United States Army, Romorantin, France, right there. I apologize if I butchered any of the pronunciations of those. But going on to the other side, we just have some more of the box contains and all that stuff on there. And then on the sides, nothing much on there, just a repeat of the box art. So we pull the box open with the box. It's a nice box cover right here, and then we open it up and we have the fold out box right here. We have a nice side profile of the Caudron G.III right there. Then we open it up and we have a nice instruction manual right there, which we're going to go through here in a second. And then some nice plastic going on and decals. So I'm going to get everything set up and we can start going through the instructions, decals, and all the plastic. So I'll be back in 1 second. Alright, so we are back and starting off with the instructions on this and a little bit about the kit from what, or the aircraft from what I've gathered real quick, was that this was a trainer aircraft for the French and the US and also various other countries as well. This is also one of the very first ones right after the Wright Flyers, so they didn't have elevators or ailerons or any of that. They just used the torsion of the wing to get it to do what they wanted to do with going up, down, turning left, right, and all that. The only thing that was movable on this aircraft were really the rudders. You did have the pilot, the student pilot and the instructor on there, but there were no radio comms, so they would basically have to yell at each other while flying. So I don't know if you've ever been in a loud helicopter or not, but when you're trying to talk to somebody without radio comms, you have to yell very, very loud to get your point across. And if you have to do it for a long time, it does wreak havoc on your voice. So getting back to the kit, we have a nice instruction booklet right here. Feels like an old manual. Some thick cardstock right here for the cover. Then we open it up and we have the history of the Caudron G.III right here. So if you want to read that, I'll zoom in a little bit so you can pause it, and hopefully you can see enough of that to read right there. Alright, so now going on with the instructions, we have some important notes, our different sprues going on with our decals. We do have a little bit of photo etch with this kit as well, and then a couple little clear parts, and then our color callouts going on here. Doesn't say what manufacturer they are using for their color callouts, so you'll just have to go with your manufacturer for your colors while you're using this. And then we have the symbols for reference right down here. Alright, then we're flipping over. These instructions, like I said earlier, that these are very wingnut wings-esque. They look like they are very easy to follow. Point A to point B, no questions asked, like control cables and all that. And like I said earlier, with there not being any ailerons or elevators with this aircraft, they had to use the torsion on the wings to get it to do all the movement. So there are going to be a lot of rigging cables in this kit, which used to scare me, but as long as the instructions are good like these are looking so far, it's not really an issue. And going on, I mean, the instructions look absolutely amazing with the rigging instructions on that. Then we're going on with our seat, getting our seat all done with our photo etch seat belts right there, and it has a nice color decal or color detail of the seat right there. And then getting the seat on with our rigging and everything, and again a nice color reference photo for our cockpit right there. Now we're moving on to the sides of the bathtub of the cockpit, and we do have a little bit of rigging to go on there. Again, it's using it tells you the different size of rigging as well. So going on with that, then we have a part to cut out, a couple parts to cut out, and these bottom two, I'm not sure what these are for right there. All right, and then continue on with the bathtub right here. Going on, we have some more parts to add in, some more photo etch going on, and again with the seat right there, looking very nice. And then the front of the engine plate going on. And then we have another really nice color photo showing how everything is supposed to look when it is all painted and done. So again, looking really nice. I'm really liking how this is all working out. Alright, and then adding some struts on there, and then some more rigging on there, and then we have some more control instrument gauges, and the one little clear piece, the windshield on there, and then we have more of the supports or braces for our rigging as well. Going on, our wings, center wing, and then our outer wing sections right there, and again showing more rigging on this. This is going to have an absolute ton of rigging involved, so definitely want to have a good spool of the Easy Line or whatever you use for your rigging, because you will be using a lot of it in this kit. So going on, just even shows you the directions for adding the stitching right here for your wings, and then shows you how everything is supposed to look. And continue on again, adding more rigging. I think the build isn't going to take a lot of work to get everything on. It's going to be doing all the rigging. That is going to be the most time consuming part of this build right here, because with the cockpit and everything else there's not much to it, but with the rigging there is an absolute ton of rigging on here. I think the majority of the instructions are involving rigging. And then we have the tailplanes right here going on with, guess what, more rigging. And then a couple more pieces going on. I think this is for our wheels right here. Then adding all that in, going right through there. And then we have our horizontal stabilizer going on with a little bit of photo etch right there. Then adding all that in, and then guess what, we are going to be adding some more rigging to it, and then our rudders are movable with this kit as well, as you can see right through there. And like I said, the majority of these instructions are involving all the rigging, but when you get all the rigging done, it is going to look absolutely amazing on that. So I'm just going through right here, showing you exactly how much rigging is going on in this kit. I mean, this is definitely not one to start out your World War I adventure with rigging on that. Even though the instructions are very nicely done, this is going to be a long task. Alright, so now finally looks like we're getting close to, actually no, looking past it. We still have more rigging to do, but now we're going to start on our engine. The engine does look very nice. We do have a lot of detail going on through there. And then we're getting the engine attached to the fuselage. It does have a nice little key and keyhole attachment point right there. So again, and then we're adding in our cowl right there, and then our wheels, and then some more rigging going on, and then again rigging, and then our prop, and then we have our options for our color callouts for the top and bottom of the French right here, and then if we're going to do the US version, we add the roundels for the US version. Alright, and then moving on, we have the other French version right here with the red and white cow. Again, really liking that one. And then also really liking the Stars and Stripes version as well. And we have some nice actual reference photos of all of these planes right here. So you can see the one from the roof of the Galeries Lafayette department store right there. And then we didn't have any pictures for that one, but again, really nice. And that is it for the instructions. Again, really nice quality on the instructions, the paper, everything really, really nice. Alright, so now moving on to the decals. The decals, again, look absolutely amazing on here. Like a silk screening on the decals. All the roundels look really nice. We do have a few small decals. I think these are for our propellers right here, and then our instrument gauges right there. Just going on, we have the stripes, the red stripes for our fuselage. Then we also have all the stars here, so you're gonna have to get those all lined up on that. And then we have the tail flash again right there for the both aircraft. Again, looking really nice. They feel really nice. They don't feel too thick. The carrier film for the roundels is right on the edge of the actual roundel, so that's really nice. And then we have the white stripes for our wheel hubs for the US version as well right there. Okay, up next we have our clear parts. Only 3 clear parts included in this kit. We have the front windshield, a little tiny piece, and then we have another little clear piece right here. I'm not going to pull this out of the bag, but all of them do look, the 3 pieces do look very nice and crystal clear. No issues from what I can see through the bag right now. Alright, up next we have our photo etch right here. As you can see, we have our photo etch seat belts going on. A few other pieces like these are for our horizontal stabilizer, and I'm not sure what all the other ones are. The photo etch is very thin, so it should fold over the seats very easily, and painting those shouldn't really be an issue. I'm not sure if HGW has the fabric seat belts for this kit. I'll have to take a look, because I do prefer the fabric seat belts over photo etch seat belts. But for straight out of the box, these do look very nice. They feel nice. There's some nice detail on the actual seat belts as well. Alright, so now moving on to our first actual plastic in the kit. And the plastic is a very nice high quality gray plastic right here. Very sturdy. The wings are a solid one piece right here, and you can see, I'm hoping that the camera will pick it up, but you even have some of the stressed fabric right in there on that, and then with the tail end of it right there. So again, very nicely done on the top end of the wing with the detail on that. Then the underside, again, absolutely superb detail on all the ribs and everything on there. I'm hoping that the camera will pick that up, but everything is looking very nice. You do see these look like they are sink marks, but they are not. There's a part that goes in there, so don't worry about that sink mark because it's not a sink mark. But everything else on this wing looks really nice, and you even have some of the stressed skin right there as well. Alright, so up next we have the other portion of our wing right here. Again, same level of detail on this one with the stretched skin and the ribs and everything. Then we have our braces. Again, really nice detail on that. Our some of our bracing right here through there. Again, looking very nice. Nice and smooth plastic. You have some nice bolt or rivet detail on that as well. Our cockpit floor doesn't really have any detail on it, but you're going to be adding some bits to that as well. And then on the reverse side, again, the same thing with the with this wing as the other one. and everything else is looking very nice. We do have a couple of ejector pin marks on some of the parts, but those are not going to be visible. And we also do have some very nice rifles included in this kit as well. I think this might be a duplicate. Nope, not a duplicate. So I think we do get a couple rifles in this kit. So again, the detail on this really nice on that. And then even on here we do have some bolt detail on this piece. We do have a few ejector pin marks on there, so I'm not sure how visible this is going to be. Alright, so up next we have another wing right here. I'm not sure. We'll have to figure out which wings we're going to be using because we've already gotten 3 sets of wings in this kit. So we'll have to check out and see when we start building this, which I'm planning on doing relatively soon. But going on, we have some very nice detail on these seats right here. You can even see all the button detail, and then the actual fabric, the way that it's molded, actually looks like worn fabric. So that is going to look really nice when it's all painted up. And then we also have a little bit of detail on here, and again, more highly detailed molding in that seat right there. And then going with the bathtub or the cockpit fuselage area of this kit, we do have a little bit of a, if you look at it on the right angle, you can see the stressed skin or the stretched fabric over it, which is very subtle, but it is there, and that is absolutely perfect because it's not overdone with that. And then we have some nice bolt detail going all the way around on here as well. And we're going to go see the inside of it here in a second. Then we have more bracing and everything going on with these pieces right here. Then we flip it over to the other side. Alright, so we do have a few ejector pin marks right in here. The only one that I'm thinking might be visible is this one. I think all the other ones are going to be covered up with either seats or other parts going on to it. But that might be the only one that might even be visible. We do have one or a couple on the back end of the seat, but that will not be visible because that sits on the very back edge of the cockpit. Again, very nice detail. We have our throttle bodies right here and some cabling going on right there. Some very nice thin molded parts as well. Alright, so up next, now we have the outer wing sections right in here. Again, same detail as the rest of the wings. We have our propeller right here, again looking very nice. We have some very nice bolt detail right on the propeller hub right there. I'm hoping the camera will pick that up for you. And then we have some more detail on our elevator, or not our elevator, our horizontal stabilizer, and then our rudders right here, again looking very nicely done on that. And then we have the front end of it with, again, that stretched or stressed fabric right in there, along with a nice little pad to go on. I'm not sure what this piece is, but again, very nicely detailed on that all the way through. And then our engine cowl, again, looking very nice on that. So, and flipping over to the other side, same level of detail on everything. No ejector pin marks to worry about on any of this. Alright, so now we have our double sprue right here. This is with our tailplane going on right here. Then our wheel hubs and everything, and some more bracing, everything. The detail on here, again, very nice. The plastic, super nice plastic. Even again with the stretched or stressed fabric, you can see that right there in the camera. It looks a lot more pronounced in the camera shot, but in person it is very subtle. So very nice level of detail on that. And we also do have a few bombs. Don't remember in the instructions if I saw the bombs. I know there are other versions of this that could drop bombs on this, but and then we're looking at the wheels. Again, very nice detail on the wheel hubs right there. Alright, so our last sprue is our engine, and the engine detail on this looks absolutely amazing. You have the top parts right here, and then your cylinder heads going to be in 2 halves, and then your push rods and everything going on right there. So everything's looking very nice. The only thing that you might need to do is add some spark plug wires. You'll have to do some research and try to find some actual photos of the engine to see what type of detail needs to be added to this. But again, the cylinder head detail, the cooling fins on here, very nicely done. And then also the cylinder tops also looking very nice. You can see all the taps and everything on there as well. So again, very nicely done on the detail for the engine. When you get this all painted up and weathered, this is going to look absolutely amazing. Alright, so that's everything for the Copper State Models Caudron G.III Late, the US and French service version. And this kit, the detail on it looks absolutely amazing. The molding quality of it, absolutely top notch. Very on the level of Wingnut wings, with the instructions and the level of detail and the quality of the molding, all very nice. And then from what I've heard from other friends that have built Copper State models before, that their fit is again in line with Wingnut Wings level kits. So I am really looking forward to this. There is going to be, like I said, I'm sounding like a broken record, but there's going to be a lot of rigging involved with this. But when you get all the rigging done, that is really going to make this look really good. And plus all the woodwork and everything on here. Not too experienced with painting wood, but we'll give it a go. Should be a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm looking on doing this here in the very near future. Like I said, it was a Christmas present from my niece and nephew, so I do want to get this one done fairly soon. So I hope you guys enjoyed this inbox review. If you haven't yet, don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know if you've built this kit or any of the other Copper State Models kits and what you thought of them. And until next time, I hope you guys have a great day. You stay frosty and happy modeling.